Awesome. All right, welcome everybody. This is 3 Secrets to Unleashing the Power Within Projectors. And most of you may be projectors. Some of you might just be a family member or a friend or a coworker of a projector, and that's why you're here also. So I want to get started with a quick poll. I had created a poll and I want to kind of check this out and play with it. So I'm going to launch that. So for all of you who are here with me live, go ahead and answer these 2 questions. So I have a question just asking which energy type you are. And also, if you're not a projector, I'm curious to learn who is the projector in your life. So just take a moment to answer those questions. And then I'll be able to kind of end the poll and we can view it and just see who's here today and get a feel for all of you. I'm excited to be sharing these 3 secrets. And for those of you who are projectors, you know how tough it can be out in the world trying to be the generator type and use a sacral that we don't actually have defined and that we just borrow from everybody. And really the intention for those of you who love a projector is to be here and get more of an understanding. Who is that projector? Why are they so different from you? And how you can actually embrace them and help them unleash their power. So I think I see 15 of you have voted. There might be a few of you who are still kind of jumping on and getting started. If you could answer the poll, I'll leave that kind of live still and I'll finish that in a little bit. So for now, I'll go ahead and I'm going to share my screen with some slides that I have for you guys as we go through. Feel free to take notes. Hopefully this will be something a little different than what you may know. We're not going to completely go into the technical aspects of the human design chart. If you still need a chart and you're not quite sure what your energy is, I run free charts and you can get that at prosperityalignment.com/how. So let's see here. You can see my slides. I want to just congratulate you for being here because I know we all have really busy lives and there's so much going on. We're at the cusp of, for some, school ending, it's getting closer to summer, we start feeling anxious, we want to be outside, and you guys are here on the call with me. So you're actually just investing this time in you to learn about you or the projectors in your life that you really love. And there's this other quality of wanting to unleash your power because we forget that projectors are really powerful. All energies are powerful in their own way, but there's this radiance and this beauty in projectors. And it's time for us all to just really understand who projectors are so that way we can let them shine. Now, my intention for this webinar is to just have a safe place where we can share and learn and kind of grow together. And that's the community I like to foster. It's part of my energy and who I am. And to also just support you and in learning and understanding who you are. Because in a world that's full of so many people, we often don't know who we are because we're constantly competing with each other or questioning who we are, thinking that we should be someone else and not really embracing the qualities that we have. There's also a level of kindness and compassion, and that's really what I want to foster in here, that we have that for each other. No matter how unique we are, we all are here to share our gifts and be acknowledged or be seen for those. And so still a few more to take on the poll. And I hear a little bit of feedback. Let me see if I can, while I'm sharing screen, if I can mute everybody. Okay, that'll clean it up just a little bit. Okay, so for all of you who are projectors, and it looks like right now we've got about 55% of you are projectors, and then we do have some manifestors, some manifesting generators, and generators. I don't see anyone's a reflector. But I want to just, get a feel for how you feel as a projector. And if you're not a projector, just kind of notice the words that are here and ask yourself if this is how you perceive projectors. So we have words in here like lazy, bossy, know-it-alls, invisible, repelling, bitter, unworthy, weird, different, meant to be alone, inflexible, powerless, unmotivated, workers, passive. And I have a trash can here because I want you to just put it all in the trash. Let's just go ahead and take all of that negative energy, any old thoughts or beliefs or things that you thought about yourself. Let's go ahead and just throw it away, because we're here right now in a safe place, in a moment where you get to just really embrace these qualities that you are. And that's this. Projectors, this is really you. And I have a heart here because I want you to take these qualities and I want you to stick them in your heart. We threw away the bad, and now we're going to embrace who you really are. And again, if you're not a projector, but you love a projector, just notice how the projectors in your life may be feeling. And if you see these qualities and realize, wow, my projector is really intuitive, supportive, a connector, flexible, they're resourceful, they're an expert, or they're this guide. And sometimes even if you don't see that initially, because maybe you feel all those things we just threw away, here's a good place for you to kind of just recognize now, here's who I really love. And projectors, this is really you. You are all of these beautiful things. And I could have listed way more because we could fill pages about who you really are. And there's magnificence, and there's beauty, and there's gifts, and there's all kinds of other qualities that are you. And I want you to just take a deep breath, put all of this into your heart, because this is you. This is who you are designed to be, whether you've seen it or not. And it's important for us to really recognize and start to understand these qualities about ourselves. So, my name is Alana Heim, and I am a projector. I'm also married to my husband, Mike, who is a projector. I have a 9-year-old daughter, Taylor, who is a projector. And then I have a set of 4-year-old twins, Hazel and Hunter, who are generators. So I kind of have my work cut out for me. I feel like I learned about human design a little bit around when they were born, or kind of in that area. So it's been a few years that I've been understanding human design. And I have my business where I get to guide people, and it's really exciting and it's fun because I get to just show up and then download and be intuitive and guide people who really need my support. And it wasn't always this way, because prior to learning my human design that I'm a projector, I actually was raised by generators. My dad is a generator. My mom and my stepmom and my stepdad are manifesting generators. And I always go back to, being told and being taught that get out there and go get a job and go do this and do. And so that's what I did. And I spent over 16 years in the public accounting industry. And it's like I was tethered to having tax seasons twice a year, burning out. I'm not quite 40, I'm almost there. And it was getting closer and closer. And I could feel it inside, but just I couldn't do the work anymore. I was exhausted all the time. I was drained. My family could feel it. Plus having the 2 little generators, it was just kind of overload and exhausting and overwhelming. And in that industry, I sat at a desk and I was kind of just by myself most of the time doing work. And really, I had client meetings and I would go network and engage, but for the most part, a majority of my time was spent at a desk by myself. And I couldn't really go into more depth in the way of helping my clients as I wanted. because it's a billing system. Time is money. You know, you're billing every 6 minutes of the hour. So people want the technical, you know, they want the nitty gritty, and they don't want more of, let's say, the right side brain or the spiritual stuff that I could give them. And so I realized that something had to change, and that was the human design piece. Me realizing I'm a guide. I'm not here to sit here and work. I'm not, me having people bring the tax return, I did the work. And now I've shifted and I've changed what I do in a way that when you show up to work with me, I'm just your guide. And I get to take you where you want to go. And even in business, I see it time and time again. It's a very guru type model of follow me, do as I do. Let me teach you the formula. And it doesn't work for everyone because we're all uniquely designed, especially projectors. We're here to use our innate wisdom to get out there and serve people. And me sitting at a desk by myself was not me really serving the world. And so that's where I had to make that change. And ultimately, it's been a really great process because now I get to honor my energy. I know more who I am and what serves me, what I can teach others, and be able to share all of that information and that wisdom and all of this innate stuff that I have inside of me that just comes out when I guide people. And I've practiced asking for permission and waiting and a lot of these pieces that we've learned as projectors. And so we'll go over some of that in the 3 secrets to unleashing your power. And so I mentioned it before that there is a power here within projectors, and it's within everybody, but it really is within each and every single one of you projectors. And I know I struggled trying to be the generator that I'm not, and I struggled with not being. It was more the doing first instead of the being. And so I want you to know that it is possible to step into your power, to unleash your power, take back your power, to really find you. And that's what I want for you. And that's why you're here today, so that we can get right into the 3 secrets to unleashing the power within projectors. And so if you're ready to get started, I'll just go ahead and end the poll real quick. So I know there were 24 of you out of 44 so far. 13 are projectors. And then it looks like for those of you who are not projectors, you have spouses or significant others, you have children, you have friends, clients, and then other. So it might be another family or somebody else that is really important in your life. So I'm going to go ahead and end that and share the results. And you guys should be able to kind of see it right now. So that was based on when people took it right then and there. Can you guys see the results? Just nod your head if you can. I might need to, okay, cool. I want to make sure because I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing that for now. And then let's just dive in. So the first secret, know you. And I want you to know you energetically. So if you have your human design chart, you already know, okay, I have this beautiful picture of who I am and what does it mean? And we're always taught to really understand the strategy, but I want to focus on, let's just look at what's defined. What are the centers that are colored in? Because who you are stems from this definition that you carry with you everywhere you go. And we already know that when you have openness in your chart, there is the conditioning, or that you're constantly kind of even malleable to the energies around you, that you can take them in, you can amplify them, you can be whatever that energy is. You can kind of transform, be that chameleon. But when you know who you are, now you have this awareness about yourself, but you also have an awareness that others can figure out about you. So the awareness centers, and I'll show you a chart in just a minute with an example, but we have the ajna as the mental awareness. We have the spleen, the left brown triangle, that is really this instinctive awareness where it just hits right in the moment. And then there's the awareness that is based on the emotions, or in the solar plexus, which is the right brown triangle. When you possess that energy and you have it consistently, that is you. For the people who are on this call listening and you love a projector, if you know this is in their chart, they are going to have great insight and wisdom based on their awareness, based on what they are constantly seeing. Because you have to remember that with projectors, they're here to guide. They're here to see and just know and understand the energies of others. And it's just innate in them. It's very natural. They can just go ahead and guide. So if you know you have a mental awareness, or a projector you love has that, they are going to be able to store and have so much insight and information and knowledge. And maybe they have other aspects in their chart that helps them to go deeper in learning, or to investigate more, or experience so that they can learn. When they have learned in those ways, they are on fire with knowledge and information. And so it's this level of, we tend to shut them down, and they go to guide and maybe you just tell them to stop. Well, the reason it's so important to know that you have this awareness is because that is you. These are your gifts. And if we're going to unleash the power within you and unleash these gifts, you have to know what they are. And you have to understand how you can use them more impactfully than maybe you've been using them in the past. There's also a quality of the motors. Do you have any? There are only 3 motors for a projector to have, because they don't have the sacral energy and they're not sustainable in that way. So they can either have the will center, which is the little red triangle, the solar plexus, which is that right brown triangle, or they can have the root, the very, very bottom, the brown square. And those are the 3 energies that they can pull from and have a little bit more energy than, let's say, a projector who actually doesn't have a motor. And my husband is a no motors projector. So I see all the time how he's always exhausted. He's running on empty. And even to work out is hard for him, because he just can't sustain that energy. And if he's using all the energy that he does have, even by the morning, he's toast for the rest of the day. So when you can know these things about yourself, you're going to be able to be more gentle and rest more. And it's not the quality of, oh, I must be lazy. It's surely, what energy is you? Who are you? And how can you sustain yourself when you aren't a sacral person? And that sacral is the life force that not everybody has. Roughly 30% of us don't have it. And projectors, you don't have that. So let's look real quick at some awareness center examples. So these are the 3 awareness centers. And not all projectors, most that I've run charts and seen, most have at least one. But if you don't have any, it's usually that you're going to have maybe the identity that is, or the heart right in here, or the throat that is defined. And maybe that's the only centers. And that's how they have their definition. And I would say that even without the other 3 awareness, it really feels like it's this level of inner knowingness. They have their own self-awareness, where they know themselves through having that identity, or they know their heart, and they're able to kind of guide from that place. So we don't say that there's an awareness center here, but I would say for a projector that only has that definition, your heart is your awareness, and you lead from that place. So for the spleen, the left brown triangle, so this is just a couple of different examples of projector charts that you can see. This particular chart just has one channel. They're literally one gate away from being a reflector. And so this is their definition. There's this connection from the spleen to the identity and who they are, and that timing, the instinct, and they're going to just know things in the moment in the way of what feels right, and being very intuitive everywhere else that it's open. We have the solar plexus, which is also attached to the will, and then having just kind of this split definition. But in looking at the awareness, there's this level of emotional experience and creativity. And emotions are very powerful. And that's the thing with, when we look at the next slide, we'll be looking at motors, but there's a lot of power. Whether you have it defined, whether you have openness, there's always power within you, within your chart. This particular projector, you can see, is actually pretty defined. Only has 2 open centers and has all 3 of the awareness. So this person is going to be emotionally and creatively aware, have all this mental capacity and ability to kind of be inspiring and share and have all these different insights and different ways of thinking and sensing. That these are powerful pieces within itself. And so again, look at your chart, find out what awareness centers that you have, and then look at also, do you have any motors? Because if you don't have any motors, that's okay, but you're going to be easily tired or exhausted because it's unsustainable for you with energy and not having the sacral and being around all these people, and they're so highly energized and buzzing. And my twins have all 4 centers at the bottom. So they live down below with all this energy and they're just buzzing, and then they have a hard time expressing it. So it's this level of helping them to release and express. And for a projector who doesn't have any motors, it's the reverse. You pick up all of those buzzing energies, and it can be too much sometimes. So the motors here, we have, we've got the will center defined here, and the solar plexus, and then the root. And then over here, we just have those 2. And so these are just examples for you to kind of be able to look at your chart and see, what motors do I have? How sustainable am I? And let's see, I think that's the last piece here I have for this first key. So again, that is all about knowing you. Energetically, know your definition. Because when you know you go out in the world, you're going to be able to distinguish between who you are and the energies that you're actually picking up. And that's really important. So I have a question here that says that, does that mean that if we have the solar plexus awareness center, we also have it as a motor? Yes, it is a motor. So with that defined, and depending on if it's connected, let's just say in the example, we had the will center connected to the solar plexus. You might have even the root connected to the solar plexus, or maybe you wouldn't have it to the throat as a projector, because then that would be giving you a motorized throat and create you to be actually a manifester. So I'm going to assume that for that definition, you probably have another motor that's connected. So you can see why it's really important to just be able to distinguish you from the world, because there's a lot of energy buzzing around, and it's important to know who you are. So that's why in my Powerful Projectors program, I will be teaching you more about this inner awareness and understanding the energies that are you, because we need to be able to unleash your power. And so I'll share more about that program in a little bit. So let's move on to key number 2, or secret number 2 is trust and honor you and your energy. So the trust and honor, now that we know that maybe you have a motor, maybe you don't, where you have this awareness, there's a level of leveraging your energy, really making sure that you are going to take care of it. That if you don't have any motors, you're going to be a little bit less able to just, let's just say, even run a marathon. And so it's important to know this, because I would highly recommend, don't go run a marathon. You know, that's 26 miles, and somebody who doesn't have any sustainable energy is just going to burn themselves out. when we think in that way, we think, oh, okay, yeah, I don't want to go run the marathon. Like, oh, it exhausts me, or it's too much even just to think about it. But I want you to remember, it's the same thing in life. We're always told to enjoy the journey, and sometimes we're told that the journey is the marathon, that our life is this marathon. So as a projector, we have to honor who we are. We have to start to listen to when it's time to take a break and really begin to rest when we need it. There's this really important piece about wanting to guide and manage others. We really want to manage everybody. We want to help everybody is ultimately the key. And we have a really hard time guiding ourselves. So I want you to realize that it may be hard to know what is best for you, but you really can know who you are. That's why I want you to understand energetically who you are first, because now you're going to start to get quiet and get in tune with you and listen to the gentle nudges. Sometimes they're not so gentle. Sometimes they get louder because maybe you're sick. Maybe there is something that has manifested to slow you down. Because the truth is, when we keep pushing as generators, we do burn out. And so if we are not honoring our energy, how are you going to be able to give to the world and shine your beautiful, magnificent light? And how are you going to be able to unleash your power? So there might be feelings that come up for you. If you have that emotional motor, you are going to have emotions that prompt you, that nudge you. And I always look at emotions as this creative energy, and it's also insightful. If you're feeling low in your wave and you're feeling upset, what is it showing you? What is it teaching you? And usually it's helping you to see what no longer serves you and what doesn't feel right for you. And if that's the case, it's a time or a place to just kind of stop and realize, wait a minute, I'm tired. No wonder I'm feeling so frustrated and so upset or emotional, because I don't want to do this. It's a matter of listening and then honoring that. Say yes, say no, but only when it feels correct for you. So you have to take care of you, because if you don't, there is no you left to serve the world. There is no you with any power left. And so this is how we tend to give our power away. We don't know who we are. We're pushing, we're exhausted, we're drained because we're trying to do all these things and do first rather than be first. And projectors are here to enjoy life and have fun and be first. That's a huge piece of this secret for you to understand. And that's why it's really important. And I have an example. One of my clients was, very similar to even part of my story, very much was living as a generator. She's a projector, but was trained and conditioned to be a generator. Worked for years and years and years and was just so burnt out. And then realized that she's this healer and wanted to create a business. And in working with her, it's a constant breaking down of old behaviors, old beliefs, old ways of being that are not true and not correct for her. And so even with when we're in our business or we're with other people, when we think we're not who we are, or we think we should be somebody we're not, we're burning out and we're losing our power. We're having less energy. And so it's this level of constantly helping her to recognize what feels correct. Do you want to do it this way? I'm wondering if this feels lighter versus heavier, and really helping her to be in touch with her truth, with honoring who she is. And it's never, as a guide, as a projector, we're never here to tell people what to do. It may be perceived that way because maybe we forget to ask and get recognition, but it's always coming from a place of deep love and service, and we just want to help. And so if you realize that you're here to guide, you're never going to tell them what to do. you're going to ask them what feels right. And so it's the same thing for ourselves. We need to trust and honor. And if something hits you where this doesn't feel right, then honor that. And when you do, you actually replenish yourself and you have more of your power back that you get to share with the world. So I have another question here that says, can you explain if projectors feel frustrated or angry if they're acting like generators or manifestors, or is it really bitterness? So when I have not honored myself, then I really do have that bitterness. Especially, I would say bitterness comes up when I'm not following what I want to do, or I did exactly what somebody else did and it fell down. So I said something in a meeting, but nobody heard me, and then they said what I said and got credit for it. Those are the kinds of things that made me feel bitter, because it's like I'm not being seen. So I see it as the misunderstood, the unseen, unheard, unrecognized. A lot of those qualities lead to bitterness. But we all can still have variations of emotion. I have an emotional wave. So for me, yes, I can feel frustrated and angry. And I would say that because manifestors can initiate and they can just go out and do that. And projectors can sometimes have that quality once they receive the invitation. Some of that can come in. Maybe, like if I'm in my creative flow and I'm going, and maybe my kids keep coming in and bugging me, yeah, I'm highly irritated. I'm not bitter. I am frustrated. And so I know it's kind of broad. Not everybody has the emotional solar plexus defined as a projector, but they certainly can go feel it from the people who do. And so that's another level of having clarity, getting quiet, noticing what those nudges are, what the feelings are, because a lot of times with emotions is we just blanket and think everything is the same emotion. That, sometimes we only think that there's frustration, anger, or bitterness. And there's so many other emotions that we get to express and feel. So it's a matter of figuring out, well, which one am I actually feeling? And if you are emotionally defined, you need more time to figure that out. It's not going to come right then and there. You're going to need a little bit more for clarity. So I really want you guys to just honor you. Take a nap. Go rest. It's really important to honor you. And for those of you who love projectors, it's okay for them to take breaks and to rest. And we'll talk more tomorrow in the other webinar about the secrets for helping to really understand the projectors that you love. But there's a big piece here around this honoring the energy, and they're not you. They are uniquely designed. And the reason that projectors are so exhausted, because I know a lot of times generators are like, what's the big deal? So they don't have this sacral. What's really going on? Every moment of the day, from the moment they wake up, even to the moment they wake up tomorrow, throughout the day, throughout the night, as they sleep, as they're awake, they are constantly energetically cleansing the world. It's just this kind of power that they have, that they're just here to really be the guide, to help awaken the world, to help notice and be aware and feel what's not right, what's not working, so that we can get it back on track. So it's this level of they're always working, but in a much deeper, different capacity. And so when you then throw them into a job, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, for years and years and years, on top of the cleansing that they do, you can see how they burn out. And then when they're borrowing your working energy, that sacral, they can work harder and faster. And then we put more work on top of them. And so it's like it just keeps going, and they feel so much pressure to just keep doing. And they forget who they are, and they don't remember to be. And so we want to help to unwind that. And that's why in my Powerful Projectors program, we're going to be going more into this, because we have to understand projectors and they have to understand themselves so they can be first, so they can have the awareness about who they are, they can trust that, and they can honor it. And so I'll tell you more about that program in a little bit. So let's move on to secret number 3, share you with the right people. Now, what I mean is, what I mentioned in the second key is that we want to guide everybody, and we're not here to guide everyone. But you're here to guide the people who see you. And I always love to say, they just might not see you yet. And I've really had to play with this because I have mental awareness. I have this superpower. I just know people's faces and I can remember names. So if I meet you, I'm going to remember you. And I can remember where we met. I can remember where we talked. And I have a name, Alana, that is really hard to say. And people don't remember it. So it's this level of whether that gave me the awareness to make sure that I know how to pronounce someone's name or that I see them, because on the other side, I know what it feels like to not have my name correct or to not be seen. That's really important for me. And that's something that I know about myself. So what I've learned is I can't feel bitter about not being seen. I've realized they're not my people. And that's okay. They're not my people yet. Because there are times when people do finally see you. And it's a level of, you don't have to accept them if you don't want to. But if you're running around feeling bitter that nobody sees you because you're trying to get in front of people who are not your people, that really, really squashes your power. And we want to help you see your power. So when you know who you are, and when you trust and honor the energy of you, now you're going to be more empowered, maybe even have a little bit more pep in your step, because you're ready to get out there and meet the right people. And so if you walk into a room and you're kind of waiting to see what happens, but you don't want to wait and you want to jump in and share something or meet somebody, ask permission. And I love to ask the yes/no question, are you here? Or even if you ask somebody, what's your name? You're already engaging potentially a generator type who's going to be able to respond, and they're going to get into this dialogue with you. But if you just get in there and try and be a manifester and say, hi, my name is Alana, they're literally going to look at you like, ugh, who cares? Why are you talking to me? And I've had that happen multiple times. So sometimes, I'm also out networking and I meet people and I'm engaging. I can intuitively feel if it's correct. I can tell if they're not really there. If they hardly wanted to talk to me or hear or learn about me, they're not my right people. I will actually expend more energy trying to sell myself or convince. It's better for me to just move on to the next. So not every person is your right person, and that's okay. But sometimes they come back and sometimes they see you. So I've been in a mentorship business program for a couple years, and there were a few people that continued on into the second year. And like I said, I know everybody. It's like, okay, you're in the group and I've met you in person, maybe at one of the live retreats. I know who you are. I know your name. We've met, but maybe they didn't remember. So it took over a year for one of the ladies or one of the women to actually see me. She didn't see me for all that time. And I have these kinds of stories. And then I like to share down the road when we have engaged and we're friends and we're supporting each other, to let them know, oh, do you remember when we actually met? Because I do. And then, and it's not to make them feel bad, but it's just to give this perspective of, this is what I notice. This is the awareness I bring. This is what I'm good at. And so one of the ladies, now she's like, when we go to a retreat, she's like, okay, who's that person? And do you remember this person? Because she knows that that's my superpower. And not everyone has that kind of a superpower, and it's okay. Another example is, so when I went to another one of our live mentor kind of conferences, it was just a couple months ago, the whole room split up into groups of 6. And so I was with 5 other women. We're supposed to be supporting our each other about our business and sharing and what did we need. And I'm an open throat. So I feel like sometimes there's an extra layer of recognition that even if I have an invitation, I'm still not always heard because I still have that open throat. As I would try and give my guidance and my input, like every time somebody was like, okay, here's what I'm working on and this is what I need support with, boom, I had the, okay, this is what you can do and here's an idea. But I was overtalked multiple times. And I kind of just started to notice they don't want my input. They don't see me. Okay, that's okay. So I kind of, sat back and got to have my turn. And it didn't feel like I was really their person. So at the very end, we all finished and we had been sitting in a circle and I'm sitting with 2 women on each side of me. And they literally start to talk across me as if I'm not there and asking each other for business cards. Like, oh, I want to connect with you. And they're all doing this and nobody's saying a word to me. And I just literally, and I sat back and I thought, they're not my people. And I actually stood up and I walked away. I didn't say goodbye. And I have to tell you, that's something I've been working on because that was really hard. In the past, I probably would have been very emotional. Like, oh, they don't see me. And oh my gosh, I have all this input and nobody wants me and they want each other. And all of those limiting beliefs and all of those different things start to come in. And I was able to actually, and I never walk away because I felt like it was rude. Like, I don't want to leave and not say goodbye. Like, that's just something that's really important to me. But I realized in that moment that it's time for me to go. I'm going to lose more energy sitting here versus standing up and walking away. And the moment I stood up and I walked away, I felt so empowered. And none of them said anything to me the rest of the time because we'd been sitting near each other, and that was okay. But I felt good because I have big, bold gifts to bring. But I get to recognize when they're valued or not. And so in that moment of me seeing that I wasn't seen and they didn't want my input, I got quiet. I began to honor my energy, knowing who I am, so that I could walk away and still feel good about myself and still feel good knowing that these aren't my people. And maybe they could be someday. Maybe. But I don't need to hold on to bitterness and I don't need to be upset because it's okay to forgive and move on and let go and just understand that energy is just constantly swirling. And sometimes it's a little overwhelming to be in a big room of people and maybe they were picking up other energies and they were behaving differently. I don't know, but it's not my place to judge. It's my place to know what feels right. And so that's what I did. I have, somebody put in a comment here. I can relate to energetically cleansing the world. I always feel that I am working on a spiritual level for humanity while I'm sleeping in some way. Yes, so true. Me too. I used to even energetically think, oh, I'm not supposed to nap. I don't want to nap. I don't like napping. What I realized is power naps are for generators. 20 minutes is not for a projector. When I take a nap, it's like 2 hours. And I still sleep that night. Like, it feels good, but I can't do that. So it's a matter of just knowing that for all that time when I would try a nap or it didn't work for me, now I know why. Okay, so let's see. Somebody else here says, I thought projectors are supposed to wait to be invited. It's okay to ask if people want to hear what we see. Yes. So yes, we want to wait, but again, waiting is more for the bigger things. We're not supposed to wait around for all the little things. I still, again, because I have an open throat, kind of feel like I still am waiting for recognition. So if you're an open throat, that's where sometimes it's kind of like almost twice as much waiting or whatnot. But you can still invite. You can still give other people something to respond to. And when you know that a majority of people, 70%, are going to have the sacral and be a generator type, give them a yes, no question or give them something to respond to. Even, and I have here on the slide, would you like to know what I think? Or can I share something? And when we projectors are really comfortable with our family and friends, and those of you who are on here, when we really love you and we're just comfortable in our skin, we don't ask, we forget. And I do that a lot with my husband. I forget sometimes to ask permission. And I just ram right in and I'm like, you need to do this and you should do this. And oh my gosh. And I'm just like guiding away. And even he is like, ugh, because projectors can still be bitter or, have the same exact feelings with another projector. We can still energetically feel just the way the generators and the manifestors feel. Someone else said, so empowering. I love that story of honoring yourself. Yeah, but it can feel so hard, but I want you to know it's possible. And the more you practice, the more you actually unleash your power and you become comfortable in your skin. And it's kind of like how we say when people get older that like, oh, I just don't care anymore. They don't give a shit. It's kind of like finding that kind of those sea legs, if you will, and get used to stepping into just being you, because we need you. The world needs you. Whether you're a projector or not, we're all needed. But projectors, we need you to guide and we need you to shine. And that's why it's so important. And in my Powerful Projectors program, we are going to be talking more and more about what feels right for you. Are these your right people? And I like to have more of this experiential kind of learning where we're just diving in and sharing our experiences, not just me diving in and giving you all kinds of information, but in my classes, it's a level of what are you dealing with? And from your perspective. And I'm a projector with an inside perspective, obviously, but I also have an outside perspective because I have projectors in my life and I may have my own perceptions of them and forget that they're just the same energy as me. They have similarities. So it's a level of really bringing this bigger vision to having somebody understand who they are, but understanding the world around them. And so that's why I created even this webinar series to be for projectors, and then a secondary one about projectors, because I want it to all be inclusive. I want us to start really understanding each other so we can collaborate and make a difference and share our gifts instead of feeling like we're not supposed to and that we're supposed to hide. So the Powerful Projectors program is a 6-week group program, and it's starting in a couple of weeks. And it'll be held using Zoom. And really, it is focusing on this level of unleashing power. But it's also, like I said, to collaborate and to start to understand each other. Because the thing that I've noticed is when we get our chart, we're really excited because we want to learn all about ourselves. And then we forget that we can also take that understanding to really see the dynamic within the people around us. Who are the people we love? And what energy are they compared to you? And how can you start to integrate and really incorporate that energy? And so the investment for the Powerful Projectors program is $247. And like many things in life, people want a program or they don't. So I want to share with you who the program is not for. And so this is for people who the program is not for you if you would rather just kind of figure it out on your own. And maybe trial and error, figure out being a projector. It's also not for you if you just want the technical aspects of human design. I like to throw in technical and have teaching moments, but it's not going to be me doing a mental awareness, mental download, a dump of all of the information I have and just throwing it at you. I like to have it be more experiential. So again, if you don't like experiential learning, meaning that you get to share and be heard, then this probably isn't the program for you. But also, if you just want to stay where you are, well, I kind of know that this isn't working, but I'm not ready, or I don't want to make any changes in my life, I don't have the time or the energy, then probably not for you. But the program is for you if you are ready to learn and grow through the knowledge piece and through the experience. And so I have kind of that mental awareness, but I also have the will center with the emotional definition through the 3740. So it's that creative side, and I love experience and kind of learning. I have some other experiential kind of gates and things. But this is also a program for you if you've been longing to really understand all of you from the inside out. Not just what you've learned about the chart, but from literally us going through and saying, okay, what do I think about myself? How do I feel in my body? What are the relationships and the environment around me? This is for you if you're willing to let go of some of these old beliefs that have been keeping you stuck. So in me sharing about how I sat with that group of women, if I hadn't let go of what it meant to be a projector, if I hadn't let go of all of those emotional and old baggage of like, people don't love me and they don't want me, then I wouldn't have grown. I wouldn't be able to be more of the empowered projector that I am. This program's for you if you're ready to be seen and heard and understood. And like I said, with me knowing names and not being seen, I like for everybody to have their voice heard. And so in my classes, it's usually let's do a check-in. Everybody gets to share, because I know how it is being a projector with an open throat, how I can tend to sit in classes and just kind of sit, because I never know, is it the right time to speak up? Should I ask a question? Do I want to share? And then when I do raise my hand, I don't get called on. So it's one of those kinds of things where, okay, if you really want to feel seen, then this is the program for you. And then the last piece, if you're ready to transform and unleash your power and find it, then I'm excited to introduce this program to you. So it starts in, I think it's 2 weeks. All the classes are going to be on Zoom, and they will also be recorded. So if for some reason, like this webinar, I will have a recording for those of you who couldn't join us live to be able to watch it now, but we'll have it recorded. So that way you can come back, watch it if you missed it live. And or for some people, they want to come back and integrate and implement, and maybe you couldn't quite catch everything in the 60 to 75 minutes that the class is. So we're going to focus more on the experiential and the transformational, because what I know through doing programs is it's, again, very easy to have a download of information and then you walk away going, what the heck do I do with all of this? Like, I don't know how to integrate or implement this. And so for us to really learn and be able to transform, we have to have aspects covered in various ways. So one of the first pieces that I'm going to bring in is SWOT alignment. So this is understanding your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we do this in business, and my background is business and the financial world. And I like to incorporate it into our inner alignment work as well, because what are the strengths and what are your own weaknesses internally? And then the opportunities or threats, those are the external aspects. So I love this dynamic of, if you're a projector, you're going to have one perspective. And then if you love a projector, you're going to have a totally different experience and kind of perspective. And so then we get to come together and really kind of see how this all works together. So the 4 areas for transformation, we have to look at really the psychology. We have to kind of also understand what you think about yourself as a projector. we also need to understand what's going on in your body. How do you feel? What does it feel like to be light? And know that that's a yes, or that it feels right for you. So we've talked about honoring and trusting your energy, but now we need to be able to implement that and know what it means, how to interpret. Then there's this aspect of the relationships in our life. So how you perceive others, you being a projector, and then how you are perceived by others. So again, and same, you could be a projector like me and have a perception of yourself, but then also perceive other projectors differently. And that's the curious part, because how can we expect others to perceive us, but we don't want to perceive them in the same way? So we want to kind of really start to dance with some of these things to help us transform and change the mind, the body, and the spirit. And then the last piece, it's really hard to have transformation if you're in an environment that is not conducive to that transformation. So there's a level of how the view of the world comes into play, and how you view it, how they view you. But it's kind of like if you think of somebody who is on a diet. If you go home and you're like, I'm going to be on a diet, and your whole family eats Cheetos in front of you, it makes it really hard to implement the transformation. So that's where we want to start to understand and the aspects of the environment in which you live. So that way you can really make the change. And so, as I said, the program is $247, and I am really excited to share an offer with you guys because you're here with me. And I value commitment and the fact that you did take time out of your day to be here to learn about you. And so for me, I always look at, okay, what kind of an offer do I want to extend? I want the people who actually registered to be able to get a great value, and a value that's more deeply discounted than even, let's just say, my list, because you actually spent the time and are here. So for you guys, like I said, the program's $247, but I have a quick decision discount of $100. So because I love human design and I honor it in my business, I'm emotional, and I know half of you potentially are as well. You have until Monday night, so that's June 4th at midnight, to make your decision. So today's Thursday, so you have a few days. I'm going to be putting out the replay tomorrow afternoon after the second webinar. So if you didn't get a chance to watch that one live and you want to have a replay, or you want to come back and just rewatch and it helps you with your decision, then please, by all means, take the time to help make the decision that feels correct for you. I have a second option because I have the Will Center and I like to play with value. I know that some people value a money discount, but then others really value the human design reading. So there's a level of having private time. So I've created a VIP upgrade. So if you pay, normally it's $347 if you wanted a 30-minute reading included with the program. So I'm giving still $100 off. So if you decide that you would rather have the program but include a 30-minute human design reading with me, that will be live using Zoom, and it will also be recorded, and that will be shared with you. Then choose this option. And again, kind of gives you a couple different options. Do you want to choose the first option? Do you want to choose the VIP upgrade? And that's totally up to you. So to sign up, go to alanaheim.com. So I have it here, ALANAHEIM.com. It'll take you right to the sales page for the Powerful Projectors program. And yeah, you have until midnight on June 4th. It's a 6-week program, and we'll be literally jumping on calls together and getting to implement and integrate and learn from the inside out about projectors. So if you are a projector, this is the class for you. If you love a projector, this is the class for you, because we're going to come together and have this really kind of fun experiential way of learning and seeing how the energies are. So I'm really excited and to be able to share this with you guys. And I would love to see you on the call and have you be part of the group. And if you have any questions on the sales page at the bottom, my email is listed. And so please feel free if you have questions or concerns or whatnot. But I just want to thank you again for joining me here on the 3 secrets to unleashing the power within projectors. All right. Well, I will talk to you all soon. Enjoy your day. Bye.